Hey everyone, Dr. Pete here. I've got some exciting news I wanted to share with you all. My new book, Lead 12 Extraordinary Insights for Every School Leader, will be released shortly and you can pre-order a copy now. I wrote this book with my good friend Alistair Kerr, and in this quick video, I wanted to share with you why we wrote it and how it might help you on your school leadership journey. But before that, let me just introduce myself. For those that don't know me, my name is Pete, and going right back to my childhood, look, school was a pretty stressful and traumatic time for me, and I barely passed. So I then escaped all of that, getting into adventure sports, and that was a really good outlet, but it ended up with some pretty severe injuries, which kind of got me interested in rehabilitation and ultimately into psychology. I then went through university, ended up with a PhD in clinical psychology, and I published a whole bunch of research around resilience, burnout, families, and caregivers. I then worked in private practice as a clinical psychologist for many years. After a while, though, I wanted to work more on the preventative side of things, so I got into organizational health research and leadership, and again, published a number of papers on leadership and team development. Around this time, I wrote a book on high-performance teams called iTeams, which was a bestseller, and across Australia, a number of schools and hospitals were all running their teams using the HPT framework, which was really cool. From here, I then focused into schools almost exclusively, and there are two unique things in schools that were additional stressors compared to all the other organizations. One is the complexity of schools. They're infinitely more complex than, say, hospitals or other organizations. And two is the nature of what schools do, teaching and learning, which is in its own right inherently stressful. And so it was from here that we realized, well, high performance teams, well, they're just one of four systems that schools need to have. And we call these the big four support systems. And that was the focus of our book on leading flourishing schools. We then had a wonderful time working in rolling the program for Flourishing Schools out, 600 schools, 16 countries. It was amazing. But you know what? One thing continued to be a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a vexing concern, which is despite all those really great outcomes for the staff and the students, the leaders were still continuing to struggle. And we had to start to understand that, because that's like a missing link in the legacy of all this wonderful work transforming schools, and understand what's actually going on there. And we quickly came to realize that it's to do with overwhelm or complexity. And we use the saying, keeping all the plates spinning. And we can see that whole idea of trying to run around and keep everything going all the time. Invariably, things start to break. And so we asked ourselves a question here: do you really need to keep all these plates spinning all at once? And we quickly realized that only 3 plates mattered at any given time: strategic, supportive, and self-leadership. And then we realized, of course, that those 3 things aren't static. What you need to do in those 3 areas shifts around in a somewhat predictable way, kind of like seasons in the journey of leadership, or literally seasons in the calendar. And it was out of that these 12 insights were born or created, the 12 most common things leaders need to understand. And so that is what Lead is about. And what I really love about this book and how we've gone about it is we also have these really cool insight to action discussion cards. And that means that as leadership teams, you can simply hit up the QR, watch a quick explanation video, and have conversations, take action, start to explore this stuff. So you don't have to do this leadership journey alone. So that's a little bit about Lead, why we wrote it, and how we hope it can help you on your school leadership journey.